John McCaig here. I'm going live, Siesta Key, Jesus Christ Trust, doing the church live. Not doing baptism and deliverance unless somebody comes up and specifically asks, but uh, just coming here because it's a very busy day here. The tents are up, seafood festival. It would be hard to get a parking space later and come to the drum circle, so I'm hanging out in between and kind of uh, making some observations and plans to go live and do, uh, evangelism, uh, explanation, and then if anyone wants it, baptism and deliverance from the demon that they got in them. So that's the plan. That's what I'm up to. If you hear noise or whatever, I'll just show you what's up. This is where I am. So it's off to the beach. Everybody goes here, and back that way is 1,000 parking spaces. So it's a very busy location. So it's a good spot to do. The hypocrite Christians show up here, and so it's good to ultimately do some, non-hypocrite work. They don't baptize, right? So I'm gonna have to start doing that. But let's go over any questions is fine. Anybody has any thoughts or questions, whatever. As I do this, I'm going to go through some different topics today and go into that. So let's start with deja vu. I had thoughts on deja vu. Deja vu came up this week, and so I thought I'd go into the meaning of that. You see something, you experience an event, and you feel like you've done it before. Well, that's because you did. You live uncountable lifetimes, and your memory gets wiped, but, you still once in a while have a previous memory that's a flash of it that goes away. So that's what deja vu is. It's, let's remember there's the evolution of the bodies, which is through, clouds and rocks and then trees. Everything here is, coming into the human form, but even the human form has, goes through stages, right? So, there's kind of the non-player character, right? Valeria, hey, good to be here. All right. Do you think our deja vu is flashes of previous lifetime? Yeah. Well, no, not further back than lifetimes. There's nothing. You're not going to remember like being a rock or a tree or something like that. Like your memory is that you're in a human form and you witnessed something very similar, exactly similar to what you're having deja vu about, like the circumstances, the location, all that, because you're having another lifetime. This time loop repeats so many times, and if you made it into the game, played as one of the 7,000, well, the chances that you're going to get it right in one lifetime are just I can. There's not meant to be other ones that can do it in one lifetime, you see, but there's meant to be one that does it in one lifetime so that everybody can witness, oh, that's what I'm shooting for, So only one makes it to Christ consciousness in one lifetime. And that's always, my character. In this age. In previous ages, it was Jesus Christ and Muhammad and Buddha and so on. That's, we're all, everything's a part of God. So, Mir Baba puts it in two ways. My character is God Man, right? Like comes out and plays the game and gets it right in one go. And the others are man God. In other words, you're playing as man many, many times. And eventually, everyone gets God realized, of Christ consciousness, Bodhisattva. So, it's remembering you're in this time loop and you remember pieces of it because you're repeating the same thing as the same character over and over and over, you know? So, but you're making better choices hopefully each time. But you remember, oh, I was in this previous situation right here. I somehow I remember it, So it's like that, Alec. Valeria, have you heard of hypnotherapy? Yes. Yes, and I've actually done that, yes. Uh, can you revisit past lifetimes through regression under hypnotherapy? Uh, you know, I would say not exactly, because you're not. Mir Baba said it this way: it's not a full advantage to remember your previous lifetimes. So we're here to get tricked, mainly, and then overcome that trickery from the 300 fallen angels, right? The 33. We're supposed to recognize, oh, they're not playing me right, like I did go through that experience once. I lived in Taos, New Mexico, in the 90s. I moved there in like 1990 or something like that. Everybody's doing everything spiritual, which interested me, just to because I'm interested in God and spiritual achievement, spiritual progression. So that's why I ended up moving there from the DC area. I drove all over the country with my wife and two young children looking for a place that, was not spiritually backward. And at least that had seemed to have some progression in that area at that time. And ended up living there and building an earthship from scratch and living in that until my wife left for some other guy. And I had enough of that and went back east. Um, it split up our family and all that stuff. She died because she sinned, and she's already dead. So that's what happens. The wages of sin are death. Um, so I think that I liken it to that hypno part. I liken that to like I also briefly I read cards for a while online when I had no money and I was starting Liberty Aid. I was starting it, and I had nothing, and I realized, oh, I could read cards, and I did it for like a month or two until my checks came in from my first wins at court, and then I gave that up immediately. So it only lasted I would say 6 weeks or something like that, maybe doing it online. And I could read it, obviously I could read whoever I was speaking to. I would give them like really interesting information. And I started out using cards in that process, but I sort of gave it up because I could see what was going on with them from any distance. And so I kind of liken it to I one time also I ran uh, a store where people could come in and get handmade items, and also was a reader. She used cards sometimes to make it look like she used cards, but she read me sometimes. And what I realized in working with her is, you know, she's reading. It's not possible for any human to create a thought. We react to the thoughts. We think about the thoughts that are said to us, but it's not possible to create a thought, right? But mind is different than thought. Mind is the repository of all the information which you have access to, right? And also the subconscious is the information you don't have access to, right? You can't access it. So everyone has at least one demon in them, is born with a demon, right? Demon, two man. demon, right? And so everyone has at least one demon in them until it's, they get far enough along the spiritual uh, process, along the plays, along the spiritual path, until that demon is given up, and that's the work that I have that gift if anybody wants it, but no one no one wants to stop their sinning and not sin again, like that has come before me. They don't do that. They all just go right back to sinning. So it says somewhere in the Bible, if you give up your demon and you don't and you sin again, then like six more demons will come into you. So uh, mainly with that past life, I'm getting at the past life stuff is kind of reading, you know. So it seems, oh wow, you read something that no one knows about in your mind, but having a demon in you, and they're all connected on a hive mind, right? So they could just hear it from the one inside you that is in you, witnessing everything that happens to you, knows everything about you. So they just access that information and tell you a story that seems real. You're like, oh, I was da 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 da. Well, that just plays into what your mind, understanding who you are at that moment, wants to hear. It's not true necessarily. I mean, it may have small pieces of truth, but it's basically not true. So, I can't be trusted to give you actual information. God can be trusted. Someone in a spiritual path far enough along can be trusted. Like I can be trusted to give you information of what you need. But talking about your previous lives, I mean, we're in this age. This life matters. You're on right now. And remember your spiritual lives. I mean, your lives that you had. That's just gonna regress you. That's going to give you something. First of all, I was allowed to tell you that. Like, even if I wanted God to give me access to that information for you, it's not gonna move you along spiritually. Moving you along spiritually is what you have to do now, forward. And so that's what matters. Uh, some made up story. Not that I haven't heard those stories. I've done it and be like, oh, okay. But then later I was like, you know what? That wasn't true in a way. And one time I had a reading from this woman. I had a couple readings for worship times, and the last one I have from her, she says, there's some little Indian guy in the background, and he keeps peeking his head around everything and smiling at me, like my guru was there, listening to her and watching her. And I was like, oh, I know who that is. And that was it. I asked him, I was like, should I do this everywhere? You might seem or interesting or something like that, but it's a total sidetrack. It's not gonna help you change your actions other than you go, oh man, maybe the spiritual realm is real and stuff like that. It is, but unless you're, give it information or sight from someone that can be trusted, they'll be lying to you. They'll be making up stories, get you to do what they wanted you to do. You see, over in the ether, like, and that's another topic I want to bring up today too. Is you heard this saying, give up? Well, a demon is someone that was in a body and they suicided, right? They took the suicide route. So they gave up their body too early, and they're not able to progress through all the things they should have done, which would have gotten them to Judgment Day, 9/11/2033, right? In this 64-year time loop we find ourselves in. They celebrate the halfway point on 9/11, 2001. Never forget 9/11, And so, they're here for, because they don't progress, They gave up progression, and they're over there in the ether, the ghosts, the jinn, the demons. You can have different names for that. But they have to get inside another physical form to work off their, sanskaras, their karma, their desires that they still have not been extinguished. So they have to take a body until, like everyone does. Everyone's in a body, and their desires have to be extinguished. Once your desire extinguished, except for one thing, you want to have yoga, union with God, right? Like until that's your only have a physical form. They don't have a physical form unless they inhabit one. So they inhabit one, and every soul is in here. Every body comes in, and you get signed up with the God We Trust. In other words, your parents signed you up with the devil, and that allows a demon to come in. And so the demon comes in, and your parents put it in you. They don't. Some of them know it, of course, but most of them don't have any idea. They're NPCs, right? Not player characters. In other words, they don't care about the spiritual path. They care about money. They care about houses. They care about the gross world, the things in this world, the physical world, because that's all they can see to them. So it's like when you go to the drum circle, and there are people, most of the people, almost all people that go to the drum circle, they bring a seat, a chair, right? And they sit in it, and they don't move. They just sit in it. So non-player, they don't play, they don't act, they don't perform anything, right? They don't do anything. They're just a character that sits there like a tree. That the drum circle is a miniature map of the world, right? And so the center of it has, is sort of like a sand built up or whatever, because that's where the devil is. If you have a kingdom, the devil has a kingdom. Where would you rule a circular kingdom from? From the center point. And so they come down here. The demons, the 33, right? They're the fallen angels. They have a form. They're working off their karma. They're allowing whoever wants to go into the circle to take that time to spiritually progress. Last night I was offered a Snickers bar by this one guy. I'm like, no, you can accumulate 40 days and 40 nights chilling Shidi in the spiritual circle. I was like, I don't take food while I'm here. And I take water outside the circle. If at all, I take water outside the circle. And so this other one right next to me, she says, oh, I was going to ask you if I could have that Snickers after listening to me. I was like, yeah, you can have that Snickers here. And she just eats it and smiles at me. Her husband recently killed himself, suicided, and turned into a ghost. See, they knowingly, turn into a ghost. Suicide, some of them don't know, but, there are a bunch of them that kill themselves knowing they're going to come back into a body, play the same character, and all that stuff. Suicide is a path where you don't go to God. You definitely are going to come back into the dome, and play this whole time loop that is set in stone again. Those are the non-player characters. Yeah, so that kind of goes into what you were asking about, Valeria and Alan. So, I usually bring up, hey, unless I'm given donations. I've survived on more than 10 years only on donations from people. So, that's it. No, it is terrible to us, Alan, right? And that's why it's they want us to suicide so badly, because they want us, that they're just programmed to beat us, Yeah, being a ghost, right? It is horrible. I go over to the ether and have to deal with them. But even like people that were going to go to heaven or whatever, right? They're over in the ether. Like super evil creatures are over there, and more good creatures. The whole spectrum is over there. And pretty spiritually advanced ones, and then just early ones, all manner. And they formed up, you kind of you say families and stuff like that. You formed up like tribal. What a horrible experience to be young and over there, and caught up in that whole thing. So they kind of tribe up and try and watch over each other and stuff like that, or tribe up and do evil things together too. There's all that going on over there. Uh, it's very unusual, like that. I mean, yeah, that's why they push us so hard on the path. Uh, Family, friends, situations, all these different things push us to suicide here. Like if you're not being pushed in that regard at some point, because what you basically lose, almost everyone loses all friends, family, possessions, homes, everything. Like, and this whole society, America, is like, oh, if you don't have things, you're nothing, right? Like, why your life has no value without things. And so, they push you to the point where, like, I remember my mother said, oh, hey, if you don't have anything, you can't live. And so, you get pushed to, and then whenever you have nothing, you're homeless and stuff like that, everybody asks you all the time, like, are you suicidal? Are you suicidal? Are you suicidal? It never ends. Trying to impress upon you that you should be suicidal because of the devil. That's the only way to get the American dream. Every other way is fake. It never happened. Millions of people in houses have knowingly, absolutely sold their soul to the devil to have 100%. Especially this late in the time loop. If you've got a home and all the children are good and you got all the possessions and stuff, you knowingly sold your soul to the devil 100%. Everyone, I'm beachfront in Sarasota and all that. Every single one of them sold their soul to the devil. There are absolutely no exceptions to that, and there never will be. There never will be. So we're experiencing the shadow of the ether world. No, the other way around, Alan. The ether world is a shadow of this world. This is the only place. All other places are fake for advancement. Yes, the moon is hell, and they're encased in there, and heaven is the sun, and they're in there. But the only place that you can actually advance spiritually is under this dome right here, the Earth dome. In this 64-year time loop that keeps repeating and keeps repeating and keeps repeating. Uh, there's, the other world, mirror world, the shadow world, that world over there, it's a shadow of this world. You see, you suicide over here, and they go over there, so it's a shadow of here. You see, yeah, yeah. So that's what it is. It's very. Since going to being called over to the ether now, because I did dream. I did dream for 7 years, but now I get sort of like, China is a hoax. China don't exist. China is the ether, that they can get images over there. Like, there are buildings there that just pop out like teeth in the ground, they're half finished and all that. Their streets are empty. The highways exist, but they're empty. There are people in one place and not in another. It's a very disjointed place to be. It's very, because you're not experiencing reality as sort of like, the straight timeline like over here. Over there, you could, because you don't have a body over there. So you could be walking along in here, like I'll be walking along with them, experiencing some part of reality over there that they want me to experience, and then all of a sudden, I'm in another location, maybe with the same individuals or some not, and then another thing is happening in a continuous line of time too. So you can be in one place and another because you don't have a body. You see, you'd be in one place and another place. Pamela Poe, all right. Uh, so in our 8,400,000 lifetimes, have each of us at one time or another also suicided to? It's almost impossible not to do that, unless you come under, lifetimes. There are 8,400,000 in the spiritual hierarchy of the fallen angels, right? Really, you know, that have to be lived through, you know, uh, to achieve be one of the 7,000, that's actually playing the game with your memory wiped. So you had to be one of those 8,400,000 in a body. Some of them could, jump in and out of the ether in a body. Right there, the ghosts, they can take up a body here. So it's like they're at both places, So is that a lifetime when you're in a ghost and then you jump into another body? You know what I'm saying? You jump into this body, you jump into that body. That kind of counts as a lifetime, you see? They have a different way of thinking about lifetimes than we do. It's true, but those are the 8,400,000 characters that are around the 7,000, right? That's all you have around you. You won't have another, unless it's just a non-player character who's just on the beneath them, not even on that level, that just doesn't even do anything here. Just sits in a chair at the drum circle, nature of their reality, and just lives a life from birth to death and never really progresses at all. Those don't count in the 8,400,000, but in the 8,400,000 are the ones that are playing all the characters in Disney World, the Disney characters, the fallen angels, right? Those 8,400,000 lifetimes, you played many of them characters, you see? Like that's, or maybe all of them, it's very, that's what they're talking about. When you're talking about you have to live 8,400,000 lifetimes. In other words, you have to live at least some of those other lifetimes of the fallen angel characters, which are the precursors to what we are, the 7,000 beings, right? They're human precursors. They're a human form, but they can't see God. They can't progress spiritually to the point where they can see God. So that's the lifetimes. Not that not you had to take all 8,400,000, but you had to take some of those character roles, which the 8,400,000 character roles that are happening around here. The timeline never changes. It's always the same. Everybody's doing the same thing every single lifetime. And so you had to play some of those lifetimes, you see? And then you made some progression. Now you're in another form. Oh, okay. So now you're progressing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, me too. Uh-huh.
Yeah, 8,007,000. That's something like 2,400 fallen angels that are assigned to each human. To be the Disney character around them at all times, whether they're in animal form or they're human form, or switching back and forth, or going into the ether, what have you. Those are the characters that are always around a single human, like 2,400. And say, let's say they don't really, maybe they sleep. Let's say they sleep, but the rest of the time, they don't have another purpose for their life. They don't have purpose. They know their purpose. Whereas the non-player characters, which are on there, before them, they don't really understand their purpose. They just think they're their thoughts. People can't create thoughts. You can only react to them. No one can create a thought. That's impossible. So thoughts are either from hell, the moon, or from heaven, the sun. Those are the only two places that thoughts are created from. It's not possible to have thoughts in any other capacity. And so you're the one receiving thoughts and deciding what to do with those thoughts. And so the non-player characters are just receiving thoughts and they don't even question them. That's all they are. They're just sent information and they act upon them. That's like the angel form. You see, they don't have free will exactly. They think they're their thoughts and they act on them exactly. You see, that's the lack of free will. If you can't, understand that there's a separation of thought and who you are, and that you're acting on it, that's not having free will. And so the 8,400,000, the 330 million, the 8,400,000 are really the top of the hierarchy of the 330 million fallen angels. That's like the hierarchy of them, And so there are 330 million fallen angels. Divide that by 7,000, that's like 2,400. That's what I meant to say. And so, they know that they're not their thoughts. They're receiving them, and they know their orders that they have to follow. And if they don't follow them, they lose. The Freemasons are like, oh, there are 33, what do they call them? 33 different levels to, you have to go through, and then you achieve truth, enlightenment. That's what they say. Uh, but yeah, so if you're not following the thoughts said to you because you understand you're just a high-minded drone, right? And so, the devil's setting out thoughts, the shadow of God is setting out thoughts. You have to go along with that. If you don't, you lose your place in the spiritual hierarchy. You fall backwards. And because what happened, you're like, oh, I think I know better than my, God sending me orders. And so that's how you fall in the first place. But then later, you're like, you start to, you remember all your lifetimes and everything. You're like, oh my God, I'm under orders here. I have to follow orders. God's always right. And so if you could do that and never tell the actual humans playing the game what's up, then you spiritually progress in your lifetimes ultimately. And then ultimately, if you keep progressing, then you get your memory wiped and play as one of the 7,000 that won't kneel to Baal. Okay? So, they you have to come up that level. So that's uh I mean, they're in physical form and they're in ether form. They're running this world and they're running that world. 8,400,000. Good question. Holy Spirit always tells me, Gabriel always tells me, Gabriel the angel, if you have a question, I would always know the answer if you serve God. So that's a good question. Because there's a mirror world, right? There's the non-physical world and there's this physical world. And, the coming Judgment Day on 9/11/2033, the time loop, is the coming to the merging of, the physical realm, this three-dimension world, with the fourth dimension, right, the ether. They merge. And so that forms a reset. Me bringing in the knowledge from both places, I'm in both places with full consciousness. When I'm here, I have full consciousness. When I'm in the ether, I have full consciousness. So I'm actually the linchpin that's pulling the two worlds together and making, Judgment Day occur. Just my character does that. Pulls them together, pulls the knowledge from two places together. They have us, because we don't know what's going on. They don't know, no one knows, they're running things from over there and inhabited bodies here and popping in and out and stuff like that. Like, until people get wise to that, then no one knows. And so I'm just delivering more and more information and more truth every time, every day, more and more. And then people are, I see that. And you begin to experience that. They begin to give you experiences that you experience that as reality, because that is reality. And then you're like, you begin to see how those two come together, how the ether controls over here, how they're over there in the mirror world control this world, And so you begin to see it, and then mentally you see, those two things go together. And so they begin to merge, you see? And so they merge in me, understanding of that, and then that truth, that knowledge begins to merge in others. And so the merging of that information, that truth, is what causes Judgment Day. In other words, it's already on a timeline to cause that. But that's the timeline. That information, that knowledge comes together. And you begin to experience reality in that way. And then it's like, then the game is known. And the people that are seeking God, they know what's up. They are calling out Jesus Christ. They know Jesus Christ is coming. So they know what's going on. And so they know to be prepared. They are prepared. They're ready for Judgment Day. They're going to go to God. There's no problem for them that day, but there's going to be a problem for this world, for the ones that didn't listen. They're going to, the wages of sin are dying. In other words, the truth sets you free. You deny the truth. All these people come by here that everyone's heard me say this, and then no one said a word to me. They all deny the truth. Everyone here, physically here around me right now, is denying the truth, so they will die. The wages of sin. In other words, you don't accept truth, and that you're guaranteed to die. You will die. You will die. On Judgment Day, the ones that accept the truth and live the truth and work for God, come Judgment Day, you're not going to die. And before that, you can't be killed. You cannot be killed. You can't suicide. You have free will. You can kill yourself, but they can't kill you. Kali Yuga and Maha Pralaya, different cycles or events. Yeah, those are different. If you see the Kali Yuga is the end, Okay, there's pralaya and there's mahapralaya, right? So uh, pralaya is the end and restart of a time loop. Pralaya is the end and start, right? As pralaya means the end and the beginning. So pralaya is the 64-year time loop. Stops and starts. One day, 9/11/2033, is 1,000 years, too, over the ether. So that day is, starts on the beginning of the day, right? And that's the end. And then come the end of the day, 1,000 years later in the ether, right? That's going to be the restart, right? So that's pralaya, okay? Now, the age we find ourselves in, the 64-year time loop. In other words, there's no Buddha. Buddha's not here. Jesus, he's not here, right? Not in physical form, living in those events, that you could read about, like the whole thing, Jesus and Nazareth and all that, like that. That's not happening in this age. This age is the United States. This dude John McCaig, blah blah blah. That's this yuga. And this is the Kali Yuga. It's the shortest age. It's 64 years. So that is the Kali Yuga. This yuga. This yuga is the Kali Yuga. Okay? And so Mahapralaya is when the whole thing resets. In other words, God sucks in the 64-year time loop, and then it comes out as a longer age, a longer time loop. And that's going to repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. That particular age repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats. Pralaya. The age is done. Bear Baba said God breathes in all of existence and breathes it back out again. That's Mahapralaya, okay? That's Mahapralaya. It's not going to be, like this, flag of 64 years, 13 stripes, 50 stars, field of blue, 64, right? I Ching, 64 hexagrams. The chessboard, 64 spaces, right? Buddhist wheel of time, 8 times 8, 64. The double dorji, 8 times 8, 64. The Alaska flag, 8 on one side, 8 stars on one side, 8 on the other, 64-year time loop. The Alabama flag, right? 8 on one side, 8 on the other, 64. The Maryland flag, 60, 60, 60, 60, 64. We're in a 64-year time loop. Every flag says something. Every single everything says we're 64-year time loop. It's just no one is intelligent enough to figure it out. I figured out first. That points to which character I am. I'm the only living prophet. Everyone else isn't. Right? No one else is. There's going to be one prophet. There's not going to be another. That's why Mayor Baba said, the coming spiritual place of advancement is going to be America. His was India, you see? But now it's America because, in God we trust is formed here. We, the devil, right? The devil runs everything in America. So, and every currency is tied to the dollar. In other words, the in God we trust, right? We, me, 33, 2033. Every currency is tied to the dollar. So, this is the place, this is the home place, home base for the devil right here. Washington, D.C. That's where my paperwork says I was born, Washington, D.C. So, where I am born, right, where I first come into a body at age 8, right, on 9/11/1969, that's where the devil has to be too. And I cast a shadow right there. And that's where the shadow work comes from, right there, where I physically am. Where I come into a body, that's where the shadow starts. And so that's where it has to start, there, right there. It starts in America, you see, just like Baba said. So, this thing's going to repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat for a while, and so that means I got to come in here. Because that's the one thing that kind of overwhelmed me, and the knowledge that I got, when I hit the 7th plane is like, because it's like, oh, you get to the 7th plane and you read Baba's books, you're like, oh man, I made it, yes, don't have to reincarnate. And then I was like, wait a second, I'm the first one to win it. Then I had to read about, wait a second, I have to read about the Avatar. I'm like, wait a second, Because my feeling is the second that happened was I gotta have to live again. Like I am gonna have to repeat my lifetime. I'm like, because I'm not getting that feeling. You know what I mean? Like I'm not. Yeah, I met with God, but I didn't stay. I didn't stay with God. I didn't. Oh, you made it in this form. I got thrown back into the body with a purpose. You won the game first, so you'll be doing this again. It's like, oh my God, what? No, I have to. So you got to think about that. I can bring you out of here, but I can't bring myself out of here until the end, right? Pralaya. But then I got to take a whole other form in another age. And with that age first, I come back, I'm back, I'm back. That's my character, you see? I'm the one that will stand under the chicken wings, Satan, right? The one who knows, sat, knowledge. I receive the knowledge first, and I tell everyone. It's always me. And I'm trying to bring souls out of here. So, it's different for everyone else. You don't have to come back in again and again once you receive that. And, pretty much everyone that receives it, receives it upon death or what? Judgment Day. Like, that's not living here again because this time stops. I mean, it's not death, but you're going, your body is gone. You're done with your body. You go to God and right? You don't have to come and reincarnate. You don't have to play the game again. So, mine is, I'm the reviled one. Everyone hates my guts and never listens to a word I say the whole time I'm alive, basically. And every single incarnation I take, I am the hated and reviled one. No one wants to hear the truth. No one wants to hear about God. Everyone just prefers to hate the guts. And that's what I do every single time. I'm the hated one. I'm the reviled one. That's my character. So, thank you for the donations, right? I'm, to the poor. I'm the poor guy that has to keep coming and here. We keep my sanity somehow and do it and others, because it's, just think if you had to think, I'm going to win the spiritual game, but then I'm going to have to be reincarnating again and again, no matter what, there's no way out. Never a way out. I can never get out. Basically, I'll be with God, but then I'll come back in. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's the way it is. But, it has to be that way. If there's no one to help people, shepherd people to the truth, then no one gets out of here. Zero. But, I'm the one that has to remain reincarnating and having my memory wiped and play the same way that everyone else has to play, or else I'm playing a game that you all are playing. And so me winning the game is winning a different game. I have to win exactly the same game that you're playing. You see, the sun scars are real. Like, the mind is real. You don't lose your consciousness. My consciousness is all the way, so when it gets thrown into the body, even if my memory's wiped, I still have the same consciousness, and I rebel against this place, and I rebel and rebel and rebel until God has to step in and I win. And then everybody's like, what is up with that dude? As people, a few, very few, listen to me. And those people that listen, they can spiritually progress. No one else. The rest can progress super slow, you know what I'm saying? By performing the acts as a Disney character. That's a slow progression. All right, Jack. Any thoughts or questions? Throw them out. That's cool. I'm here at Siesta Key. We got a foggy day. It's warm. It's like 80, 81, something like that. But it's foggy. So this is where we're going to do the drum circle later. It's just they got the seafood festival and all this stuff. Like, I wasn't going to get a parking space later if I didn't come down early and hang out, Yeah, no, Jay, dummy, you keep coming back. You keep coming back to the truth and listening to it and acting upon it. So yeah, exactly. Dummy. But that's another word, dummy, non-player character, like ones who don't act accordingly. And so what's at the what's at the, I want to get into another piece. What's the reason? There's a, let me see. Uh, no, you neither hate or revile me. Right, you're one of the very few, but the rest of the entire population does. You see, that's what uh, sets you apart from them. You see? And that's what puts you on the spiritual path. In other words, you made so much progression in your previous lives. You recognize the truth in a human form. And you're like, oh, I support that. I agree with it. I'm going to act upon it. You recognize it. Your consciousness is so far advanced. You took this form and you don't revile me. You don't hate the truth. Meaning you're right. You're, the fruit that you come into is ripe to get to God. You see, theirs isn't. But generally by everyone else, I'm hated every pile, you see? You love me and all the truths you give every day. Thank you very much. There's no one else I can trust except you. Thank you. You know that's true. And it's sad but true, but it's coming to a realization that that is the truth, you see? That the other ones don't have the truth in this message. So if they don't have the truth sets you free. Well, if they don't have the truth, they can't set you free, you see? And we need a guide. I had a guide, right? Like Mir Baba explains, there are 5 perfect masters and they wake up the avatar, you see? I don't play a different role than other humans have to play. They have to bend the knee, to the ego and realize, there's someone more spiritually progressed than I am, and I have to listen to them. I had to do the same. I had to listen to my guru. I had to. I still do. I still listen to, if I have thoughts or questions, and like I recently did. I'm going to start another project here in the not too distant future, and I asked him straight up. I'm like, I've been over the ether, and I just don't trust them. I don't trust them over the ether. They're telling me these things, and I don't trust them. And I said, so should I do this, what they're saying? I see that it has reasons to do it. But, if one of the 5 perfect masters, they run the whole cycle. In other words, they go through all the paralayas. You see, they know it all. They know all of it. You see, every single piece. How could they not know? They know. They know all of it. They know every single bit of it. He never told me anything, though. He will answer my questions. He never told me about the time loop, never told me about any of this. Completely never told me any of it. If I ask him a question, he'll answer what he can, and then he won't answer what he can't answer. Because I also asked him recently. Well, I asked him about that. I was like, is this a waste of my time or not? He's like, no, it's a good idea. He's like, I was like, I think I should go to India and help the poor over there this way. That's what I keep getting. He's like, yes, you should. One time he told me, what's taking you so long? I'm like, what's taking me so long? What are you talking about? I'm doing this as fast as I can, But very recently, in the last couple of weeks, I asked him, I said, listen. And I tell him a lot. I've told him a lot for years now. I said, I pray to God all the time for you. I say, and I tell God, if not for you, I would have never made it where I am. I never, no way. So I always tell God all the everything that can be given to my guru, everything that can be given to him, he should get it all, not me. I say he's the one right here. He deserves it. He's the one. That's why I say I prayed all the time. But recently I asked him a question. I was like, to me, I was like, you're one of the 5 perfect masters, and you don't just run the age, you run the cycle, and you're the top one of the 5. And he says to me, if I was, I wouldn't be able to tell you. It's just so few, it's always so few words, and it always carries so much weight. It's like, oh my goodness, Jay, you know a guy who is helping his wife. I don't know what that means. Is that a question? Yeah, Pam, thank you, and thank you for your support. Your family is is the biggest supporters of my work. So that's one of the most, it's impossible almost. It's such an extreme miracle that more than one individual or one family comes to God in the truth, it's impossible. Meaning it's a miracle. And I mean that with every bit of that word. It's impossible. Any other family, you see, because what is, Jesus Christ, he comes with a sword, right? I was given a sword when I met with Mary Mama and Jesus Christ and Gabriel the angel. I met with all three of them. I was given a sword, right? The sword of judgment. And Jesus Christ talks about that, right? He said, I have a sword and I come to divide families. That's what he comes to do. Divide you from your controllers, your fairy godmothers, and everyone that's around you, because they're not helping you progress. They're helping you progress in a certain way, but you have to get ostracized from them. You see what I'm saying? You're like, I don't want this world. I don't want these things. I don't want to. If I gotta do those things to be in this family or whatever, then no, it's not for me. I want to be with God. So to see a family that has more than one member in it listening to the truth and listening to God is it's an aberration and such an extreme. It's not even possible to. It's really not possible. It's such a high level miracle that it doesn't really exist. I've seen one other, kind of, they're working through stuff further down in the plains, but out in the Northwest there's a grandfather and a grandson, so that's the only other time I've seen it, so it's an absolute aberration in such an extreme way. It's not even, it's like impossible. It's super impossible. Okay. A guy who's helping his wife in the Philippines. I don't know what that means. Jay, you gotta. I know a guy. That's not a question. I have a question, but that's not a question. So, try and keep working through what you're trying to ask, and form it into a question. I know you feels like you're trying to get it into a question. Could the Jesus Christ trust? No, I tried all shortcuts. No, you're cool. You're cool. I got it this time. Let me stand up for a second. No, I got it. That time. Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. I tried, uh, to figure out like a way to not have to sign one of these actual trusts, and to make it just, hey, sign this form. You're with Jesus Christ, and shorten it and make it a one-page thing for the homeless. 'Cause I've been homeless, and my heart goes out to them in such a way that I just wanted to help them, and realize, oh, how they can get on the internet. But then I was like, I did, everyone else has signed a trust. Well, they figured it out. They did it. I did it from scratch when I'm homeless. So, I mean, it is possible to do. So there is no way around it. There's no way around this trust. It's part of the actions that have to be taken here, because the income trust exists. It exists the things. It means you have to be spiritually advanced, mentally advanced, and so on. You have to do that. That's part of this aim, to do that. There's no way around that. No, there is no way around doing that properly. You have to get a trust. And you have to do it. Okay, there's just simply no way around it. I've tried because my heart went out to people, but it is impossible. And why is that? Because I'm handing out the trust. They can't come through you. They can't come to the truth unless they know. First one to win is the game. The game is the game. The game doesn't change. It's not like, oh, the game's going to change. Well, I'm in it. No, this cycle is what it is. It's not going to change. It's never going to change. You see? So, no, there's no way around doing it the right way. There isn't. I tried, and then I realized I beat my head against a wall and trying to do something that was not fair to the other people. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to Alice. It's not fair to Pamela. It's not fair to everyone else. Valeria. It's not fair. You have to get the trust from me. Has to come through the spiritual hierarchy. You have to see it as real. Then you have to follow directions. If you ask a question, that's the answer. Then you have to act accordingly. There's no way. There's no path way around that. There's not going to be another. Who's going to win the game first? I won it first. So you have to go the same pathway. I tried. My heart went out to everyone. Jesus put his heart inside me, and you have so much compassion for so much trauma and so much trouble. All I wanted to do was get him out of it, but it can't, because it wouldn't be fair to all the work that everyone has to do through so many lifetimes to achieve this goal where you're in this body right now listening to me. There's no way to circumvent that, because it would be making the game not exist, basically. So that's why it does exist. This is the way. And that is the reason for it. There's no way around that reasoning. It can't happen. It can't happen. But good question. I'm glad you brought that up. Because all I wanted to do is like, how do we get these souls to God? But this is the way. There is no other way. There's not going to be another way. There won't be. So I'm glad you're listening. I'm glad you've taken steps accordingly. I'm glad you're down the pathway that far. You signed the trust. It means you've gone so far. And so there's further to go. And here's the next piece that I want to bring up about, what is, you signed a piece of paper, now you got to act, and now it's like this. Well, what's the next, what is, like, I had a question recently, I want to do the free home thing. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. But what's the only home worth getting, right? A house of God, right? Like a church, you see? And then it's got to be near me, or the first one anyway, just so I could go to it and do this, but live, right? People show up. And, but I'll do it on Judgment Day. I'll do it if nobody else does it before me. But I have to leave that pathway open for somebody else to do it. And then somebody's going to do it first. And then somebody's going to be like, oh, hey, a church can be God, under God's name, and so on. So then somebody else can do it. You see what I'm saying? Somebody else, and somebody else, and somebody else, and somebody else. That pathway is going to remain open until Judgment Day, 9/11/2033. It will remain open. I'm not supposed to shut the door on that. I'm supposed to open it. And then if I were to do it, it kills all that. Obviously, if I do it and miracles happen, well, that's me doing it, But I've been told not to. My perfect master say, yeah, everything you say is right, but he said, don't do it. Somebody else is going to do it. So, what? Wait a minute. And what it has to be overcome for someone else to do it, okay? There's a thing holding everyone back. And I have to bring it up because everyone has to work on it, okay? And that's what? Fear, right? Fear is the absence of loving God, or the absence of knowing that you are loved by God, right? You're just not having the feeling that God loves you. And so you fear something, whatever it is. You have a fear of something, and that's the absence of you loving God and God loving you back. Fear is the absence of doing that, of you deciding, I'm going to love God, and then God's like, oh, you're going to love me no matter what is happening, even if someone is, because fear is a thought. Fear is a thought that's being said to you. You don't create thought. There's something that comes through your eyeballs by seeing stimuli, right? I see something, and then that thought is created within you. And you reject it if you're with God. You reject the thought of fear. You're like, no, how can I be fearful? I'm with Jesus Christ. I'm with God. How could I be fearful? That's impossible. I won't do it. Nice try. So your reaction is no. You start taking God's name, Jesus Christ, over and over. And so that's how you beat fear. Let's see, Jay. We see crazy stuff where old Catholic churches are stuffed down and sold at ridiculous cheap prices. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So who's gonna get one of them? Who's gonna waltz in and be like, his name's already on the door, put the notice on the door, right? Like a free hose. Who's gonna do that, right? Who's going to overcome their programmed fear, right? Because guns are fake. You can't be shot. That's impossible. If you're with Jesus Christ, right? They try to murder me so many times, and they can't raise a gun on me. In their courtroom. They cannot. They're frozen solid. They're enough to test that. I'm the only one. I'm the one that done it first. Others have to, but everyone else is a coward compared to me. Every single living human is a coward compared to me. They don't have the proof. They don't post the proof. They don't love their brothers and sisters. They don't go to the death for them. They don't overcome the system. They don't care to do it, so they don't love their brothers and sisters enough to do it.
I'm gonna go check it out. You want to walk over?
Your plan for next year is to be in the local Halloween parade as a safe parade to Rosary. That's yeah. I mean, that's good. Then what are you doing? You're giving them notice that you come along a certain amount of way, and then you should be there. What? Praying for them, the ones that got you in the parade, that got you to this knowledge, that gave you such a hard time in your life that you had to listen to the truth. You should be praying for them.
All
You
right,
should be
Grant's gonna
forgiving
hang
them.
here with the bag.
That's what you should be doing while you're in the parade, praying for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gruber, you coming, Jack?
You know, I talked about this one fallen angel. He's got his on his hood of his car, and on his hand, like right here, you know, on his hand, is a compass, right? And it's the kind of compass that has like, you know, like one in one direction it'll be like north or whatever, and it's split in two, like the light and the dark. That's 8 times 8, 64. And I saw the hood of his car. I was like, oh hey, you know about 64-year time limit. I was next to another guy. He's like, what? And he goes, yep. That's what, you know. He goes, oh yeah. And his name is Pierre, right? He's Pierre Perry. That's his name, Pierre Perry. Means fairy, means fallen angel, right? That's it. So the thing to overcome is fear. You see, fear that what? God's not going to stand by you. You're going to do something impossible. You're going to take a church in God's name, and by the way, you're not supposed to do it unless you ask me. Only certain ones. There's only one or two that can and should do it first. Others, then that opens the gateway for anyone else to do it because the proof exists. So the fear is overcome by some individual that's rightly prepared to do that work, you see? And so they, you know, that's who you should be praying for, those, whoever does that first. Like that's a domino that really starts the whole thing, you know? Then I'm going to go in there. Oh, thanks for the invitation to speak in your church. What? I start doing this, and I'll you know, go live and all that stuff. Start delivering, start baptizing, and then you know, you want to get a church with a rectory, a place to live, a house on the grounds too, and a giant parking lot, right? Because whoever signs the trust and has any kind of vehicle, tent, RV, whatever, it's like go in a parking lot. You know, tribe up over here. Like we'll gather. You see? And then I'll pray for you. And you know, you'll be existing around the truth. And then everybody will be filming it. If the cops show up, well, if they show up and they get prayed for, they get frozen solid, well, why are they gonna show up? You know? It's you know, that's how the spiritual war will occur. Out in the public, out in for everyone to watch. That's what's going to happen. So you know, whoever is doing any of this on the spiritual path or whatever, wherever you are on it, it's overcoming fear. That's the thing. So you can perform the actions needed. So that's why people can't spiritually progress. Is fear. Fear that God doesn't love you, and that comes from you not loving God enough. That's how it occurs. Okay?
I'm gonna leave it for here.
The crunch, the big crunch, you know, is coming. And so we're going to have a financial crunch, a little crash coming up. That's the plan, right? President Brandon he's playing the role of Jimmy Carter right now. We're doing a big crash thing, and then Mr. Helicopter Buddy is going to come in, right, and blow the wig off this thing, right, and shoot down some helicopter money and everybody. That's a script. That's a plan. It's pre-programmed. They can't change the script. It happens the same way every time loop. Nothing ever changes. No characters change. No script changes. Everything happens on the same exact day, the same exact way. That's the way it's going to go down. So when somebody finally gets a church and I go speak in it, that's when it's going to precipitate them going, oh, hey, cool, no, let's start getting rid of the student loans. Let's give out helicopter money. Hey, if you can't pay your mortgage, that's cool. That's when they're going to, start backpedaling and be like, no, stay with the devil. It's not that bad, You found a roadside cross that you want to seize. Well, you know what it means, So, to everyone has to take up the cross means who's going to go into church and get a place with a cross on it? Who's going to go get a church? That's what it means to take up a cross. I mean, of course, as knowing it's the 64-year time loop, taking the name Jesus Christ, who's nailed to the 64-year time loop as in charge of it, Jesus Christ. That's taking up the cross. It's taking up this actual knowledge. Because the ones that are like out there speaking, hey, I'm citing the Bible as like, oh, well, I'm going to heaven, I'm going to God. It's like, oh, so you're saying hotel rooms go to God because they don't got a Bible in them? So what, a hotel room wins too? I don't think so. You want to be first so bad. First to what? So that's the crash that's coming. That's the script for it. Another thing I want to bring up here is the van that I got. It's a 99 VW Westphalia pop top, I'm going to turn that into basically the church, roving church. So that, get it, you want to be first to get a church? Well, you should get in touch with me in the classroom, Jesus Christ Trust, and work through it. Because you're going to find 10 locations and you got to be like, oh, let me work through it for you, because they got to have the right attributes and be physically close enough to me so that I can get over there and help you secure the joint by obviously showing that if anybody shows up, I'm going to knock a demon out of them. So don't come by here, and we want to get video of that. And in that regard, I'm going to turn this van on the outside. It's going to have the information, the 64-year time loop, and Jesus Christ is coming on this date, 9/11, never forget. Yeah, you should get in touch because first thing you do is find out, okay, what's a vacant bank-owned church with a house on it, a decent parking lot, hopefully fenced, maybe even gated, not necessarily has to be, but that would be the best. And then, how close can you get that with those characteristics physically near me so I could just drive over and be like, hey, let's go, So that's really important. But ultimately, I want to be running the church out of this van to start with. And I don't have the things it's not, I've noticed that it hasn't served to help anyone for me to just not record what I do. I should be recording what I'm doing. Like if I baptize someone and a demon comes up and speak to them, and they just go right back to the devil, that was figured out or whatever. That doesn't really help anyone, It didn't really help them, and everybody else around me denies it anyway because the only one that's ever around me is fallen angels, not humans, So it's only the ones that remember their lifetime. That's who's around me. They're not going to change. They're not going to turn. So I need video of it, to put it out on this channel, and other people could, shoot it out there and be like, hey, this happened. It's not fake. So it doesn't make sense for me to do this work in public unless it's being recorded, and then I need certain things that I don't have to do that. I need information on my band. I need a PA system, that records to an iPhone so it can stream live. And then also, that video will be captured because I'm on this channel. And then it can be shared with that link, I also need a QR code big enough for people to see on the van, and also, something as a sign so people can donate to the church. I also need like 8.5 by 11 images that I'm going to choose, like a rainbow and so on. Like, it's going to be 10 or 20 images that, uh, you know, people have to be able to accept or deny the truth. So I have to give a short explanation, relatively short explanation of the truth, and images help with that. So people can decide whether they want to go to hell or go to heaven or go to God. There, right, is remain in duality, go to heaven or hell, or you could go to God. So everyone, basically, I'm here to send everyone to hell, and they earn it, right? They should go to hell. Why? Because I don't want to be around them after this. I don't want to be around them. Neither does God, right? Go to hell. Yay. I'm so happy they go to hell. And so my goal is to get everyone sent to hell that should be going there. They deny the truth, automatically they go to hell. Yay. Thank God. Because it's bad enough to be around them around here. Everyone denies the truth. Everyone around me. Everyone. And good. I want them to go to hell. Every man, woman, and child go to hell. Thank God. And die on your way. Yay. And get your house turned to ash. Hooray. Just like Paradise and Lahaina. Yes. You earned it, and you die. I'm super psyched. I can't hardly wait. Really, less than 10 years now. How long have I called the date? Over 12 years now. So, yeah, I'm really excited for that. And I'm excited to see them die. Because they earned it. Because they won't learn in another way. They refuse to learn while they're in a body. So they have to disembody and go to hell, and they can learn over there. Because they're not intelligent enough to hear the truth and act upon it. So they should be killed. Thank God. Question. If I could ask, what happened to the original group? Oh, they just denied what I said. They just don't listen. We want one day to get a free house, right? A few of us. Yeah, have a good day now. Someone said thank you. Someone listened to the truth. That's the only one this whole time I've been sitting here. I said thank you. And she's tatted up. She's one of the fallen angels, so she actually knows what I'm saying is true. The original group, they just ghosted me. You know what I mean? Literally, that's a word, right? When you ghost someone, you don't say a word to them and you're just gone, right? They ghosted me. And that's the proper term, isn't it? Because a ghost is a demon, is a jinn, and they have that in them. They have a demon in them. So they literally ghosted me. They didn't say a single word to me, and they just left. Like one day they were just gone. They ghosted me. And when did it happen? It happened after we worked on taking that free home. And keep in mind, no one was physically touched at all. No one went to jail. All of us went into $1 million plus house with like 10 acres, gated place here in Sarasota County, right? 12 cop cars show up, helicopter, black SUV, the CIA, FBI, they all are there, right? Can't physically touch us. Didn't physically, just drove away from there. And they just asked, can you please not do this? I was like, okay. I didn't say that. I said to them, because I got outside because I went for food, wake back in, and they were blocking the way. I'm like, I'm going in, and like, oh, you can't go in there. We got a situation. I was like, oh, and I get a call from one of them. And he says, oh, they want to come in. What should I do? I said, this is that moment of free will. You can do what you want. You can either walk out or you can stay. It's up to you. And he said, well, we're going to leave. I said, that's fine. And that's what they did. They kept right on walking. They kept right on leaving. You see? They let the fear overtake them, and off they went. That's the way it goes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, what is this supposed to happen in one single action? First of all, it wasn't even a house of God. It wasn't a church, so it wasn't the right place. How many stops on the way have I had to do to get to this place of knowledge? Come on. You know what I'm saying? Come on. And they go down one time, not touched, no one harmed, nothing. No problems for anyone. Still, the fear overtook them, and they just went coward right there. They would have blamed me. Oh, yeah, no, I didn't hear a word from them. I didn't hear a single word they sing, not from any individual, none of them. Zero. They didn't say a word. Some of them got, one of them got like 500 G's from the work I helped him specifically. Another one got 300,000. Several others got $150,000 from working with me. And by the way, none of them donated a single penny to me. Not 1 cent. They didn't give me nothing. None of them. None of them gave me a single penny. Nothing. And see, the fallen angels, they never donate. They can't give to me. They don't do it. And they never did. They did it. So that proves who they are. Yeah, not a word. They ghosted me. But that's proper. Ghost you. That's what they do. And that's who I learned what they are and so on. So they did their job properly. They're ghosts. They ghosted me. Okay. And that wasn't an actual church, so it was a step on the way. So okay, that's fine. They're forgiven. Whatever. They're never on my mind ever. Never. You ask about them, I'm answering. But they're forgiven. Whatever. They didn't want God. They wanted money, so they were given money. So they have money. Okay, that's their karma. That's their problem. How many lifetimes are they going to get for that? Plenty. You see. But they're forgiven for their fear. That's why I'm saying fear is the thing to overcome. They're not able to do it. They were unable to do it. And they're not spiritually advanced enough to do it. The ghosts are running them. So that's a really good question, Jay. A really good topic and stuff like that you're getting into. Because it goes to the point of fear. You see? If you can't overcome it, you can't progress. Period. Afraid of the cops? I'm sure they were, right? I'm sure. Yeah. Not me. I'm just like, walked right up to the cops. Hey, I'm going in there. Like, sir, we'd appreciate it if you did it. I'm like, well, hold. And then I got a call. I'm like, well, what are you going to do? And I was just like, I'm going in. I don't care what you say. I know you're going to be frozen. I'm going in. And they're all like armed to the teeth, standing around me. I'm like, I'm walking in, whatever. You can try to stop me. I don't care. I'm here to find out if the devil's real or if Jesus Christ is real. I'm like, that's what I'm doing here. And then I get the phone call. It's like, well, it's all you. Your free will. He's, oh, we're leaving. I was like, well, I'm not going in, so okay. It's not for me to do. You see, if I had done it, I'm going to take this place, and I don't care. That's it. Well, see, I would have made it so there's no other opportunity for anyone else. So it was just that had to happen. So enough knowledge of the situation was gathered so I could tell you this information now and the rest of it, you see? But me take the act, yeah, I'll do it come Judgment Day. But there are some close to the truth, and there's one I heard who's going to do this at some point. There is one. So let me go back into the stuff that I'm going to need to make this stuff happen and start delivering people this stuff in public. Like, this is a good spot to do it, actually. I like it. One of the fairies already stopped by and said, thank you to me. So they knew who I'm working for. I'm not just working for the humans. Because if I move humans out of here this lifetime, the fairies, the fallen angels, they can move up too. I'm here for them. How am I not here for them? They know I'm here for that. Tell them to their face, I'm here for you too. And they're like, oh, thank you. They're allowed to say thank you. That's what she said. That's all she said. And then she left. That's it. They know who I am. How do they know who I am? They can't read my mind. Right? I have the universal mind. I'm an anomaly. I'm the only one up here that can't read my mind. I'm an anomaly. They're like, oh, we can't read his mind, so he has to be that one. That's how they know for a fact who I am. You see? So anyway, those are the things that I need to work on for my van and stuff. And I need a standing cross like big enough to stand up, and it's going to be, standing like as big as me or whatever, stuff like that. Like, so I can point to it. Here's a 64-year time loop. Jesus Christ is nailed to it. All that stuff, And I need also like a folding a beach cart, like where I can put all this junk in it and like, park the van sometimes where that's not going to work and, like come to here, set up and do the thing. So I need to work on those things. If anyone wants to help, that's cool. That's a general list. Uh, okay, that was my list of things for the day here that I had. And I thought I'd do Siesta Key live here. Is one of the hive minds showed up and said thank you, so the whole hive knows, right? They all know now because one of them said thank you, so they know. They all know now, all of them. All right, man. One of the drummers. That's cool. He's a nice guy. He's a good drummer too. He's down here early. That's funny. Right when I said they don't. I mean, can you imagine? Did you? Oh, the timing. Like I said, they know I'm here. They said thank you, and he comes right by here and he says thank you. Right when I said that. Can you even imagine? They're here for us. Do you get that? Why would you be fearful of anything? God is running this whole game. I mean, how much more detail do I have to give? You see, this is an absolute pre-planned game that you can spiritually advance by certain actions. You see, you have to overcome your fear to do the actions. And guess what? Don't be, oh, I'm going to go take this, but you can't do it unless I say it's okay. And certain one of you got other things you're doing. You're looking out of a family. You don't have the legal education. There are different reasons. That make you unsuitable to be first. But trying and working on it and gathering information and all that, everyone's suitable for that. You see, to gather it, I would do it like this if I were to do it and so on. Anyone's suitable to, put together, oh, this is how I imagine if I would do it, I would do it like this. Anyone's suitable for that, but not everyone's suitable to do it. A lot of people are going to get blocked. There's only one who's really the one. So to do it, but then anyone could do it after that. Basically, you see what I'm saying? Anyone could. No one really has to. Anyone could, and they can spiritually advance. But I'm gonna be in that one place. Like, hey, come on by. What? Anyway, really good questions today on the topics that I brought up. I kind of think it was a continuous kind of like train of thought, and then it all worked together and stuff. Hopefully you felt the same. I want to get back out here, especially this time of year. I'm going to be doing some traveling, but while in America, the Sundays, if the weather's good enough, I want to be out here, because the days are short. So if I do this at 12, I'm here, and the drum circle starts at like 3:30. It's not like I got to be here that much extra time. I got a van to be in and stuff like that. So, I'd like to get these things together and maybe start doing some of this deliverance and this work here maybe even before pilgrimage. Who knows if I can get that together. So, You weren't hogging nothing, Jay. You were getting to a really, everything you brought up was absolutely dead relevant, man. No, everything you had to say, you didn't hog nothing. Everyone that wanted to know that information and those details. And I'm glad, who sent you those thoughts, right? The Holy Spirit sent you those thoughts. So I got to say these things now. You brought them up because everyone in here needed to hear them and needed that knowledge. No, wait, don't ever say, that. This group should be asking questions, whatever comes to mind. You should, if you're not typing them out, that just means the Holy Spirit's got to do work double. Or I got to get it in somebody else's head. So don't make that happen, right? No, do your work. Hey, I need to know this because everyone else is listening, you see? No, thank you. You did great. And so did everyone else that asked a question and all that stuff. And everyone else listening and absorbing this and, processing it, Say your prayers so you can process this and see where you fit in this whole thing, You should do that. Alan. Oh, yeah. Right? That's it. Look, Alan, man, this family, that's what I'm saying. This is such a spiritual anomaly. It's got my attention, because it doesn't happen. It's really, this is something going on here, which I have, eyes to see. It's just absolute ongoing miracle that I get to witness, which is good for me. It's great to see it. Uh, let's say a prayer now. Let's you don't have to type it if you want, but I'm just saying, let's say a prayer together for each other, because we're doing this work for God. Okay, so let's say a prayer for each other. In the name of Jesus Christ, that we never forget that Judgment Day is coming, that there's work to be done, and who's going to do the work? It's us. Who else can do it? They can't even hear what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? So that with truth comes responsibility. You see? You're going to get out of here. You can hear the truth. That means you're responsible for everyone else up in here. Yeah, you're responsible for yourself, but your brothers and sisters, they're behind you, and they need to come along. You see? And so your actions matter. They're watching. They're listening. They're here to watch and listen and gather information. You have to show them, listen, you can do this. You have to do it. And that shows them they can do it. You see? And you are doing it. So pat yourself on the back for your spiritual progress. Pray for each other in the name of Jesus Christ for all that you're doing, all that you will do. All right? Everyone, thank you for being here. Thanks for the support. No way I could do it without you. It's impossible. You're in the hierarchy. You help those, who are coming up. And that's what you're all doing. So with your prayers right now. I'll see you soon, okay? All right, Mike. All right, listen to this one, Mike, all right? It has great, deep relevance, especially for you, because you're on that list of the babies who could take them to church. So you need to listen to this one, buddy. And it's great to have you here. This is the only one I ever scooped up off the beach is Mike. Yeah, all right. Hey, see where I am. Up. Right? You saw it. He raised 2 fingers, right? As soon as I turned the camera. That's the guy that, gave me the thumbs up. But yeah. Oh yeah. Come by right that second. Here I am, Siesta Key, buddy. All right. What are you doing up in the cold, man? Come on, Mr. Florida. I'm a Florida transplant. What are you doing? Come on. We want you back where you can get back. I know you're helping others. Mike doesn't do nothing for himself. He helps others. I'm just giving him, a hard time, but I'm really not, because I know he's helping others, what he's doing. So I'm not giving you a hard time. I'm just, reminder, Florida's still here. All right, Obi. Anyway, it's like 82 and sunny here. Whoop. All right, everyone. Great progress was made today, all right? Love you too, man. I love all of you too. I'm doing my best to love you as God wants you to be loved, by telling you the truth, the absolute truth, not wasting your time, answer your questions because they're relevant. You're working through this. So ask them. Ask me the hardest, whatever it is. That's what I'm here for. Because then you'll have that answer. And you go, oh, okay, that makes sense. And you'll on to the next one. And then you'll have no more questions, You just start to act. You'll be one with the Holy Spirit. You won't have questions, right? You'll just be there. Oh, in Florida? You're coming. Oh, well, it'll be great to have you, man. And I know you're working for others up there, so let me say a prayer that goes well for you, man. In the name of Jesus Christ. Everyone, thanks for praying for each other. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all the progress you're making, really, because my job is to help you make progress. If you're not making progress, I failed. I failed at my work. So thank you for doing that, okay? All right. All right, everyone. Great to have you. All right. Love you all. Bye-bye.